friends, welcome to another cook video with Becca. Today I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful and yummy delicious donuts. Let's get right into the video. You want to start by first measuring out your flour. This is a very important part, not just your flour. Ensure that every other ingredient I use for this recipe is measured. You don't just want to do it like that, just do it like that. No, it's wrong. When you're making pastries, snacks, cakes, whatever it is you're making, ensure that your ingredients are measured. So for this recipe, I use 3.5 kg of flour, and the recipe gave me 100 pieces of donuts. This is the recipe I usually use anytime I want to produce 100 pieces of donuts, sizable donuts. So the bowl I'm using for measurement is a bit small, so I had to measure twice. The first one was 2 kg, as you can see it, and then the second one was 1.7 kg. I was supposed to use 1.5, but I ended up using 1.7 because I would have to sprinkle some of the flour when I'm working on my work surface and all that. So here I went ahead to sieve my flour. I'm just sieving it out. This part is the part that you don't want to skip when you're making snacks or whatever, pastries, cakes, anything you're making. You don't want to skip this part. You want your flour to be very light and easy to work with, and also you don't want dirt in your flour. So after that, I went ahead and then I measured my sugar. I measured 700 grams of sugar. The list of all the ingredients that I used will be in the description box, but I'm just explaining those. So I measured out 700 grams of sugar, poured it into my flour and stirred it in, and then I added a pinch of salt. The salt is optional, you might want to skip it, but I always like the salt because it turns down your sugar and then gives it that moderate taste. Your dough does not have your donut does not end up with a very sharp sugary taste. Then I added powdered milk. You can use liquid milk if that is what is available. I added 10 tablespoons of powdered milk. Then here I'm adding my powdered vanilla flavor. You can use the liquid vanilla flavor if that is what you have. I have the both, but I decided to use this. Most times this is what I use for pastries and then snacks. But when I'm making cake, I kind of prefer the liquid vanilla flavor. But anyone is fine, or any other flavor for that matter is fine. Then here I'll be adding my yeast. My yeast is the rising ingredient. The yeast is a rising ingredient. So for this recipe, so I added 12 tablespoons of yeast. Please, when you're measuring your ingredient, ensure that you use the right tools for measurement. Don't just use any spoon at home for tablespoon or for teaspoon. Ensure that you use the right ingredient, the right measuring apparatus or equipment. Then I added the four medium-sized eggs, four medium-sized eggs. I just cracked it in, and then at this point I'm using my hands, which is manual mixing, to mix it. So I brought my bowl down and then I started adding warm water, not cold water and not hot water. If you use cold water, your yeast will not rise. If you use hot water, the same thing, because your yeast will be dead. So after mixing a while in my bowl, I transferred the dough to my work surface and then I added butter. Butter is the last thing I add. There are a lot of donut recipes out there. A lot of people add butter at the beginning and mix, but I have used that recipe most times. In fact, growing up, when I was learning how to make pastries and cakes from my mom, I that was the recipe that we learned. You have to put the butter at the beginning. But as I grew older and started making, I discovered this recipe, and since then I think I prefer this recipe. So I add my butter at the end. It makes your dough very soft, light, and very easy to work with. If you try this recipe, you will confirm this. So I added my butter at the end, and then I started sprinkling flour and kneading. Now this is where the work is, guys. Your shoulders. So I was kneading this. It was not easy, but I needed to make it very smooth. So you keep kneading and adding flour until your dough is soft, like what I have here, and not sticky. At this point, my dough was not sticking to my hand anymore like at the other time. So I allowed my dough to rest, although I couldn't show that part because there was power outage. So here, the light is back, and my husband was just helping me to set up my camera at this point. So after allowing it to rise for a while, I had to punch it and then bring it to my bigger work table because work had started. So at this point, I was just cutting my dough and molding it into the size of a pillow donut, because that's what we're doing. If we're making the regular donut, I would have just used my cutter and a rolling pin. But here we are making the other type, the pillow donut. And then I don't know if you observe the white paper, that's a white parchment paper to place your dough on it. And then after sometimes after cutting, I allow it to proof for a while. And here we are frying, and this looks so nice and yummy. If you are seeing this, this is so nice and very beautiful. So this is it. This is like the first batch I put before I remember to actually set up my camera. And here I'm putting more. You just lift up your parchment paper with the dough, bring it close, and then just turn it over so that it drops lightly. The reason you're doing this is because if you want to use your hand, you might end up deflating your dough, and your donut will not come out very nice and beautiful again. Because if your hand touch it, that part will show. But you see the way this one is coming out so round and so nice is because I didn't have to touch it with my hand. There's parchment paper available. I just raised my parchment paper up and just look at how beautiful this is. And this will also help your white line to also come out. And even if you're making the regular dough too, you can try using a parchment paper for this so that you don't deflate your dough. So this is it. And then when you're frying, please, as much as it lies within you, fry on very, very low heat. Donut is not a snack that you want to fry and then the oil is bubbling and making all that sound. No, ensure that your oil is very, very your oil is on medium heat. Your burner is on medium heat. You don't want it very very hot. If not, your dough will be brown on the outside and it will not cook on the inside, and you don't want that kind of dough. You don't want that kind of donut rather. So ensure that your oil is medium. Let me know that is not too hot and it's not too cold, because if it's too cold, your donut will end up absorbing a lot of oil. So I think this is where most beginners make a lot of mistakes. So you want to be sure that your oil is in between medium heat. If there's anything like that, that's what you want. So here I just continued adding my donuts in it. And then sometimes if you keep your donut for so long without frying it, it can proof and then stick to your parchment paper. Don't worry, just drop it. By the time you turn the other side, it will fry and it will come out well. And yeah, after frying, I couldn't cover the packaging because this delivery was to go out on a Sunday morning, and I had to also go to church. So this is what the end looks like. We packaged it. I had an assistant that assisted me. We packaged it into the nylon, and this is what we had at the end of the day. 100 pieces of donuts is ready, and trust me, the reviews I got from these donuts were mind blowing. So this is it. If you're going to try this recipe, let me know in the comment section. If you tried it and it came out so well, also let me know in the comment section. This recipe is a very simple recipe to make a donut. Donut is one of like the easiest snacks we have in Nigeria. So you can try out this recipe if you are making a bulk order. Thank you so much for watching.